Third thing I'm making is a chai masala creme brulee tart. So I'll make a slightly salty spiced custard, goes into a very crunchy little pastry case, gets demerara sugar on top, and then you hit it with a red hot branding iron and the whole thing melts and goes smoky. So you've got the crunchy, salty, sweet, smoky, all at the same time.
Thank you. I'm going to make a pudding, funnily enough. It's the end of the meal. Why not? And I sort of think it's time for a cup of tea, so I'm going to basically do something based on a cup of tea, all right? I have the tea bags right here. And what I've got over here is 500 mils of cream. I'm going to make a chai masala creme brulee tart. The success of the last course is the very, very old-fashioned way I'm going to make the brulee. Now, a lot of people would use a blowtorch, and you could use a blowtorch for this recipe if you wanted to, but you won't get that same intense smokiness unless you use a brulee iron. And if you really want to do it the same, you've got to go out and buy yourself a brulee iron and heat it up on, on a flame and do it, and don't be scared. So over here I've got 500 mils of cream, 2 tea bags. I'm using Dilmah tea, very good tea. 6 squashed cardamom pods in there, 8 cloves, and some ground ginger, some cinnamon, and a really big pinch of salt. And this is the custard, no sugar. Okay? Now if you want to make custard, a real custard, not that nasty stuff you get in a packet, you get some egg yolks, which I've got here. And as soon as this has come to the boil, bring this to the boil slowly so that the spices, the salt and the tea can infuse into here. Like so. You notice I have a pot bubbling away here. Are we boiling? Yes, we're boiling, which means I can now turn that off, strain that into there, and then this gets tipped into there, just ever so slowly, just to get it going, like that. And it can all go in there. Don't whisk it too much, you're not trying to put air into it, you're just stopping it from catching on the bottom. And then you go over here, stick it over the pot of barely simmering water, and you stand there and you can look out the window. Just keep it moving, Talk on the phone, do whatever you like, but just keep it moving, otherwise it'll catch on the bottom. And it should be just simmering, which it is. And now that's going to get really thick. And that now gets cooled. Whoops. And that gets cooled and ends up, by the time you've cooled that down, it ends up looking like that. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful, real custard. Right, so that's that. I'll show you how to make the pastry. I've got some sugar, some butter, and some zest. And I'll just chop that up. So that goes in there. And sugar in there as well, and lemon zest in there as well. Blend that up. And that looks to me like it's ready. Put the flour in. And you want to be really careful when you put the flour in. You don't want to process it too much. You work the gluten up, you get really chewy pastry, and you don't want that. So, whoops. The minute that comes together, it's ready, and you have pastry. There. Whoops. And then all you need to do is wipe down your bench. Just take this out, tip it on your workbench, and you've got this very soft, crumbly dough. It has no water or milk or anything like that in it. It's just eggs and butter. It's got a lot of butter. And just push it together in a disc shape like that, and put it on a plate, cover it with Glad wrap or something, put it in the fridge, because you can't roll that, it's way too soft, too much butter. Put it in the fridge until it's firm enough to roll. You get yourself some little small tart rings like this, is about 8 centimetres, and you roll the pastry out, carefully put it inside one of these, then you put them on a tray, and then you put them back in the fridge until they get hard again. This is because there's so much butter in this that if you just stuck it straight in the oven, the whole thing would just collapse, alright? So you put it back in the fridge until it gets hard once you've lined the tart things. And then you put your little things of beans in there and, you know, lined with tin foil. And you bake it until it's really well cooked, until it's a little lighter than this brown. But make sure you cook it. So many people cook pastry, you know, they don't cook it. They sort of just show it in the oven and it comes out and it's terrible stuff. But when you cook this really well, it's got lots of butter and a little bit of sugar and lemon in it, you get this lovely, it's like it's made of cookies. Because it's not just a vehicle for the tart, it's actually, I want the pastry to taste really good as well. I'm hoping that those are really, really hot, because this is what you do. You've made your pastry, you've got your little tart cases, okay, this is what you're going to have. And you get some of this, and you put it in there, and you just smear it on there like that. I'm just going to wipe the knife across the top of it, like that. And we'll put that on there. I've got some Billington's natural Demerara sugar here, which is dark, it's not just sweet. And why would I be wanting to do it all like this? Because I don't want just a boring sweet flavour. I want something interesting, you know, it makes your life worth living. And this is, you do the brulee routine here, put some sugar on it, just a bit. I've got some whipped cream and some yogurt, because the other thing that's really good with this is something sour. So you got, you know, sweet, salty, sour, it's all going on for grown-ups. And I've got some whipped cream, which is in the big bowl, and some yogurt, which I'm just going to mix together. You could do it with yogurt, but I wanted the deluxe rich version. That's going to work. And now for the climax of the evening. We hope. If this is hot enough, this thing will work. So, you go like this. And you have a creme brulee.
What I like about the creme brulee tart is you've got this very crunchy, sweet cookie dough pastry, which is quite thin.
And that's a real creme brulee.
You've got
Don't ever be
slightly
satisfied
tannic
with
from the
anything.
tea, spicy, slightly salty custard with no sugar in it at all. And then you've got this crunchy, smoky Demerara, which is very caramelly, sugar top to it. So that when you eat those three, you think about your teeth biting through those three layers. You got it?
Serve it with a bit of this. And that is now, see how tap, 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 it's gone completely hard. And that's the pudding.
I'm always looking for great flavour, and if you do it like this with a branding iron, you're going to get a much more complex, interesting flavour than merely sweet and merely custard. And I don't care how simple things are, I always want the best flavour I can find. And it's worth doing that. If you don't want to do that, it's too scary, whatever, don't do it. Make something else just as good. And I guess, as they say, the proof will be in the pudding, or the proof will be in the whole meal.
From High Five Productions.